All right, so this is a pretty different Buff Bagwell than what you're used to seeing. Actually, he doesn't even go by Buff Bagwell anymore. He's Marcus or Mark Bagwell, and at the time that we recorded this interview, he was just over a month sober. A lot of that thanks to DDP. And man, shout out to DDP for all of the work that he does for so many people. Of course, we famously know that he helped out Jake the Snake Roberts, the late great Scott Hall, but just so many different people from so many different walks of life. So actually, he let us shoot this interview at his house in Atlanta, so that's what you'll be seeing like behind us, a whole bunch of DDP memorabilia. He also let me stay the night at his house because we filmed this incredible, very crazy workout that you'll be seeing soon. Also, shout out to NordVPN for always keeping me safe, always keeping me secure when I'm on the road like this, and also for sponsoring this video. I just love the peace of mind when you're on public Wi-Fi, but you're protected by NordVPN, so you don't have hackers coming in there and stealing all of your information. But the best part is being able to change your virtual location with one click. I don't know why I did that's 2 clicks, but it's 1 click. So you can access content from 59 countries. So you can watch shows that you don't have access to where you live. And yes, a lot of people message me about this. Yes, you can access the WWE Network instead of watching it on Peacock because we're not gonna get into it. But I think that we all know the OG WWE Network, when you weigh it out with Peacock, there might be some stuff there that you want to see. So just change your location to a place that still has the WWE Network. Boom, that's it. That's all you gotta do. You're in. And NordVPN wants you to watch the WWE Network. That's why they're hooking up anyone who watches my channel with a massive discount. Grab your exclusive deal by going to nordvpn.com/CVV. Not only are you gonna get a huge discount, but they're also gonna give you 4 months for free. 4 of them. And it's completely risk-free because NordVPN has a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to nordvpn.com/CVV. It's an exclusive deal. It's a limited time deal. So if you're thinking about it, jump on it now before it's gone. nordvpn.com/CVV. You look really good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro.
It's been like, I think the last interview we did was like 10 years ago. So a lot has changed, right?
It's a decade, bro. Well, think about it.
Yeah, it's a decade. But it's Marcus now.
Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah. That's a big
Mr.
shift.
Bagwell.
When I first saw Mr. Bagwell's Neighborhood, I was like, this is so good. I sent it to my buddy. He goes, no way, that's Buff Bagwell.
Right.
I said, yeah. Where did that all begin?
Dallas is so great, and he's got such a great team, man, with Steve Yu and all of his it's family. They don't call them people or employees. It's family. It's from the camera guys to Nadia to Nate to everybody. It's a team. It's a team and a family. And Steve he's just we call him Yoda, bro. He's Yoda. And it just happened. He picked out basically in the Change Your docuseries. It was like, what can we do that's completely opposite of Buff Bagwell? And Steve came up with Mr. Rogers. I mean, how much more different can you get than
the
that?
R-rated Mr. Rogers.
Right? The R-rated Mr. Rogers. The gigolo Mr. Rogers, right?
Right.
Okay? So to speak. And so we kind of we didn't really know. He just threw it out there. And man, we put the outfit on, and I felt like Mr. Rogers. I was like, and I started going like, and everybody just started laughing.
Yeah.
So of course, Steve, camera was on, and we were taking little puppets came into the scene, and I'm going like this, and all the Mr. Rogers stuff, and it just happened, man. It was magical. It was really magical. And then we went to Alaska, me and Dallas did, and of course we still had that. We knew we had it, but we didn't really think we were going to open the can on it yet. And then everybody in Alaska was like top guys when we were on top said, like Scotty Tuhati came up to me and goes, why are you not doing the Mr. Rogers thing, man? I mean, I go, well, it's in our back burner. We're going to do it. And he said, man, it was tremendous. It was great. Everybody's laughing about it. It's really good. And so, so we're going to do it. So this guy in Baltimore, Danny McDevitt,
MCW,
Baltimore, Maryland, and he shoots Dallas this text, and Dallas just catches on fire about it. Me and Steve are like, wow, it's unbelievable how excited Dallas is about this. He was really excited. So we, of course, he knew I would be ready. So he talked to me about how he wanted to do it. Danny did and everything. So, the debut of Mr. Bagwell was going to be in Baltimore, Maryland. With the Mr. Bagwell's neighborhood.
At what point did you think you needed a change? Like, you were Buff for almost 30 years.
Yeah, Buff's got me a long ways in life. But Buff's also got me in a lot of trouble. And I think everybody was just thinking, that it was just time for a change, and the show came out with Dallas, the docuseries with the change or die thing, and to the point Dallas in the get-go, way early, was wanting not to call me Buff anymore. And
you were even calling yourself Buff for so long.
Right, yeah. I'm Buff. It was all about me, and that got me a long ways. But it just, I think Dallas saw it before anybody, and Dallas and Steve saw it before anybody. But I think Buff had maybe his run, and Dallas was like not wanting me to bring my hat out and stuff. And I said, Dallas, I go, people want to wear that hat all the time. He goes, I know, but just leave it on the table, man. Let them see it, but don't wear it. He actually said to me, and it hurt my feelings a little bit. He said, I feel sorry for guys that walk in, the older guys that are holding on to things. He said, and I kind of feel sorry for you when you walk in with your top hat on. And I said, I kind of feel sorry for me too, but we're doing what we do, and the fans still love us and stuff. He goes, yeah, but I just think we recreate you, man. And I'm thinking, well, to what? And then all of a sudden, this Mr. Rogers thing came more to life to us. And so, of course, we started messing around with it. And then when Danny put the spin on it for MCW, now we're actually doing the debut in Baltimore, Maryland with Mr. Bagwell's Neighborhood, So it's just, like I said, Buff is just something that was great. Man, to be Buff Bagwell with the frame and body I had through the 90s, it's so much luck. But it was a lot of work too, bro.
And a ton of discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Can you imagine I was sitting in the gym one day after the first photo shoot I'd done, and I said, and I was just looking at the ground, and my trainer goes, hey, Mark, he goes, what's wrong? I said, I just realized that I've got here, but now I got to stay here. And I went, and he goes, well, that's okay. I said, no, it's not. I said, we presented this to the world, and I was in tip top, like maybe the top 5 bodies of the wrestling history's bodies, and stayed there for 3 or 4 years, man. And it was fun at first, but it was a lot. It was a lot to stay there, man. And I think that burned me out. And the addiction and things started coming out of that with Buff, and he got me into a lot of trouble, and so I think when Dallas started saying, let's change and think about it, with calling you, he really wanted to call me Mark again, or Marcus, and he said, everybody at the Change or Die show, he was saying like, no, he's Marcus now. And they would go, Marcus. And it was so annoying. I said, no, just call me Buff, man, because it's just easier. Yeah. They already been calling me Buff. There was Buff on my room and all that on the door. So I said, don't try to change it if it's uncomfortable. Let's just go with that. So it kind of took over there, but not quite. But now, he just wants me to not do away with Buff, but it's just time to move on.
Yeah.
With everything in my life, and with this, with me going to, getting, this trip to Black Bear, to get cleaned up this last time was a big deal.
You'd been to rehab how many times before?
4 or 5. I've been 4 or 5. Out of those 4 or 5, I didn't know what was wrong with me at all for 3 of them, meaning I didn't know about my sleep apnea. And I had severe sleep apnea and didn't know it. So the 4th one, I took my actual CPAP with me. And if I would have listened and I would have been a little more ready, I probably could have got clean there. I probably could have, but I didn't. I came home. I was 20-something days clean. My sobriety date is August 27th of this year, so I'm clean 40-something days today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. And I'm not a big counter, but I know my sobriety date, bro. Mm-hmm. I do know that, and I'll never forget it. So that's a big day, August 27th. So I am, everybody decided it was just time for me to go, and it was time. It was time, so, I went.
But you have to be ready. I think that's the biggest thing. I've heard that from so many people.
Well, the main thing, and you're right, you do got to be ready. And that's what happened before. I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And everybody, of course, wants to know why is this time different? Why is this time different, Mark? I mean, tell us what is so magical about you being clean this time when you said you've been clean, 3 or 4 times previously. This time, I had a lot on the line, man. I had a lot on the line, along with my age, along with my maturity, and I was ready. I was tired. I really was tired, man. I was tired, and I would have asked for help if I would have known really all about it, but I was just, so much was going on. I was still making a lot of money and trying to manage my life and trying to do all these things to keep going, but my life became unmanageable. I mean, I started seeing videos of myself that my friends were taking where I was in this position going, I mean, I've got to straighten my life out. I got to get going. At that level. So in my mind, even though I was blacked out right there, I was still thinking, come on, Mark, you've got to do something here, man. You got to kick out, Yeah. And so when they said, we're going to take you to, they told me, they came in on me, and said, look, it's time to go, man. You gotta
like an intervention?
Yeah, intervention style. And, Dallas led it, and Steve was there, and, my niece and everybody. So they ran an intervention on me, and they had every answer, bro. They had them. They were ready. And they were like, I said, what about the podcast? They're like, we got that covered. And I said, well, what about the dates? I got a bunch of dates, guys. We got it covered. And, but in the big book, of, alcohol, AA book, it says that, your life's become unmanageable, and my life had. It had become unmanageable. So my niece took over, and, that was the first step, was to get me there.
And this was after you had already done the docuseries with Dallas?
Yeah. So I came
Change or Die?
Yeah. I came into Change or Die, and had gotten cleaned up. I'd really kicked out of my, I wasn't as bad as everybody thought, so to speak, and really had a handle on it more than people think. And was really like, I was staying sober down there, but I was coming home on Thursdays. And my main drug of choice is benzos, which is, most relaxers, Xanax, that kind of thing. Oh. And
did you mix that with alcohol?
I mix it with alcohol, and alcohol. I've been in trouble with alcohol several times, but never had an alcohol never had a DUI with alcohol, never. And so it's not like I wasn't trying to get a DUI with alcohol. I was drinking, but obviously there must not be a big problem there with the drinking if you never got a DUI with alcohol. So,
or you just didn't get caught.
Right. Well, no, I blew. It wasn't over the limit. So I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it, but it wasn't. So they were like, so that transferred into this time. It was more alcohol because I wasn't abusing the pills. I just raised my alcohol. And so this time it was really the alcohol that I was seeing become a problem. So it was that was something new for me, that much alcohol intake. So that's when, my niece started seeing, sleeves of vodka in my refrigerator and, the little bottles of the sleeve and things like that. So, it was just, like I said before, it was just time. It was just time this time. And she knew, and so she kind of led it and called Dallas and called Steve. And then I don't think they were fully sold that I would go. But I went pretty quick. I went with too much of a fight at all because I was ready, man. So
what do you think it was? What was your reason for drinking?
To escape. I was just so depressed, man. I was depressed about my life. I think this is the main key. I was extremely lonely, man. I was lonely. Do you know how many times Marcus or Buff Bagwell has been lonely in his life? I mean, never. I mean, a woman from the time I was a kid whether it be my mom or a wife, a woman took care of me. And I'm so thankful for that. It's not even funny, but all of a sudden, there was nobody there. And I had ran off everybody. My addiction had ran off everybody except Dallas Page and Steve Yu. And they stuck by my side through the whole thing. And so, you know, so I started isolating. You know, I got so lonely and so depressed. Then I just stayed by myself and just drank, you know. But I still was staying professional, or trying to. I would call Steve to come down to the PC Center, the Performance Center, and do some work or do something, and he wasn't returning my calls all of a sudden because he didn't know what to say to me. He was like, Mark, I didn't know what to say to you. I knew you were screwing up. I knew you were probably drinking or drunk, and I just didn't know what to say to you. So, you know, so I just didn't answer. And I said, I get it, man, I get it, you know. So, you know, they came down, and, you know, John is just the best thing in the world that's ever happened. And even Dallas said, man, if you did one thing right in your life, was being sweet to your niece, man, because she's wonderful. I mean, her family's wonderful. Her and her husband Chip are just phenomenal, you know, and I love them so much.
Is there a certain part of, and I think this happens to wrestlers, it certainly happens to athletes, where you had your prime and then your body says you can't do this anymore? Is there a certain part where you go, man, I want to be 1990s WCW Buff Bagwell?
Wow, dude, you have no idea. And that was a big part of my depression too. To talk bluntly about it, I couldn't get my abs back. And I was like, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. Medicate. And it's crazy to say that, but it is, because you don't have the tools to battle that. And this time I was sent to a place that was literally, they give you the tools there. And they may have gave you the tools at other rehabs, but I wasn't ready, or I didn't listen.
Yeah.
Because they make you go to class at Black Bear. Black Bear Recovery makes you go.
And where is it?
It's up in like Helen, Georgia, like North Georgia,
okay,
in the mountains in North Georgia. And it's beautiful up there, and it's just, you know, you're in a log cabins and stuff, but I mean, it's rehab. I mean, there's no TVs, there's no radios. I mean, no TV in your cabin. There's one TV on the whole place. There's from 6 a.m. when you wake up till 9 o'clock at night, you are going class to class to class, and you learn, man. You learn things. And you learn things, like one thing I learned was a thing called PAWS. It's post-addiction withdrawal syndrome. And what happens with that is, it's like if you have a feeling of a withdrawal symptom, that happens a lot. It can happen for 18 months after you get clean. And it could be like, for me, my triggers and stuff of having that symptom and feeling weird is like sweating, or it's a certain kind of sweat though. It's that sweat where if somebody touches you on your back, you're just like, hey man, what's up? You know, it's a different kind of sweat. You know, it's just weird, and it's a withdrawal. But it's called, you know, and it can happen for 18 months, and that kind of symptom would have led me right back to like a Xanax or something. But now they give you the tools at Black Bear to fight that off, you know, to okay, now breathe. Let's breathe it out. Let's relax. Don't let it play tricks on you. It'll go away. It will go away. And it does. And, you know, and those kind of things that I would never do before, didn't know about, I knew how to fight them this time, you know. And that's why I was able to successfully complete this thing, I think.
What do you think is the biggest thing you learned about you during this process?
It's okay to be lonely. It's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to, you know, that you've got a bunch of notes that you're not marking off every day. It's okay that you didn't make it to the gym today. It's okay that you don't got your abs back like you did when you were 25 years old. It's okay, Mark. It's okay. I learned that you didn't have to push myself as hard as I was pushing myself and setting my goals way too high. I wanted to look like Buff Bagwell in 1995 now, and it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening at all. And then you throw the knee in with it, you know, a 2-year-old, you know, injury that was not getting any better at all. And I mean, guys have seen me at the locker rooms and been like, how long are you going to be on this crutch, man? And I was like, I ran out of stuff to say. And so that became really depressing for me.
This is from the car accident.
Yeah.
So you're still dealing with this.
Yeah, August 2020. And the main thing was, and what led to all of this was to go, I had to get clean before this was going to get better at all. So, we sent me to, rehab just to get this done was one of the main reasons because this thing is like, it's dealing with my life right now.
What's the actual injury?
The actual injury is my patellar tendon exploded. It's not there. So they cut you down your calf and they bring a piece of your calf muscle to your knee and they rebuild your patellar tendon. And it's called a gastrocnemius flap, or it starts with a G and it's got flap in it. Well, as I went to the doctor the other day, the flap is not even there anymore. And now there's like all kind of stuff, chips and arthritis and all kind of stuff's going on. And it's bad news. It's like, like amputation is on the table.
Still?
It's on the table. Not that they're going to do that, but it's on the table. We got an infectious disease doctors that we're seeing right now. And everything's not saying it now, but if it sways one way, it's back in the conversation.
Wow.
So right now the deal is we're going to keep it clean, keep the wounds good and clean, and we're getting blood tests every 4 weeks, and that's going to tell us whether it's getting better, stabilizing, or getting worse. And we ride that as long as we can. And when the wounds heal, there's a lot they can do, but the wounds have got to heal.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot, man. Even telling you the story back. Can you imagine going through this?
Well, I saw the original photos.
Yeah.
It looked like someone had taped a ribeye steak to your knee. Like that much was exposed.
Right? It looked like a steak. It was crazy. When I first text Sting with that, and he hates phones. And he called me right back and he went, "What is that on your?" He said, I wasn't gonna call you back except it said that was your calf. I go, it is. So the meat you saw in that picture was my calf muscle, bro. And they're like, what? And I'm like, they bring it up the whole 9 yards. Well, it seemed awful good, but it just never healed, man. And so I'm dragging this out 2 years and 2 months now,
When that Cameo came out right around that time, I think a lot of fans were really concerned.
Oh yeah, that was really bad, man. I saw that back maybe the day I got out of. Yeah, it was the day I got out of Black Bear. And either I turned away or didn't watch the whole thing or what. But man, I watched that thing back and I almost, when it was playing, I almost said, cut it off. It was that bad. I just didn't, you're just so much is going on when you're doing what I was doing with drinking and taking pills and all that. You're in such a fog. Your brain's in a fog kind of. You think you're thinking clearly, but you're just not. And and it's just a real crazy place to be. But man, it was like you make it make sense, like we always do. And addicts are the best at it. We make it make sense. And we're like, I was like, this young boy had a cameo needed done. It's not about the money. It's this kid. I'm doing the right thing because this kid needs this. Yeah. No, bro, you're not doing the right thing. Dallas called me the next day and goes, what are you doing? I go, what? He goes, bro, don't do nothing if you're doing anything. Don't get on the camera. And it was brutal when I saw it. My bruised face and missing teeth, and I don't know what I was thinking, bro. I really don't. I was just screwed up. I was screwed up.
But your interaction with fans has always been so great. And like, fans are so important to you.
It's so legit.
And you make it such a memorable moment for them.
Yes, it means so much to me. And Dallas is the same way. But it means so much to me that even when at the shows we go to, I stand in front of my table. Every other person there, and this is not saying nothing bad about anybody. It's just the way they do it. They sit down in a chair behind their desk or behind their table, and I just want to get up and be a part of it and make their day better. Yeah. And anybody that's ever seen me do that, it's from the heart, man. It's from the heart when I do that, because I really care about the fans and what they think, and I want to make the best out of them, And and I feel like I do that. you know, and it means a lot to me, man. It means so much. Me and Dallas, either one, I don't think we've ever turned an autograph down. I know I haven't. And I wish to God I would have a camera on people that have gone to their mailbox and opened it up and looked in there like, what is this? And opened up and saw an 8x10 of me. Without any exaggeration, I've done that 1,000 times where I've took a name down on an airplane or something or a card and them walking off thinking, right, like he's going to send me an 8x10. And I did it. I mean, I never failed, I don't think.
Wow.
And it just meant so much to me. I mean, that card, as soon as I'd walk in from Australia or Canton, Georgia, it was instantly, you know, get 8x10, sign it, fill it out, get it and mail it, you know. It just meant so much to me.
Where do you think you go from here? Like, you look great, you sound great, you're healing up your knee. But I remember talking to Jake about this, Jake the Snake, and he's like, it's just one day at a time.
Yeah, and you know what? Man, it's really hard for me to do that. But it is one day at a time. But I am so excited about being sober for the first time in my life.
Is this the longest you've been sober
Absolutely. For? They actually asked me at Tengu, my aftercare place, they asked me, you know, how far back? And I was like, I think maybe 16, I think. To be totally sober, I think 16. And that's really sad and pathetic, I know, but I think that's the facts.
I think, though, that our relationship with alcohol changes. You know, when you're 16, it's to have fun, drink, meet girls, whatever,
party, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got arrested at 16 for blowing a 0.01. I didn't even drink beer. That's when you took the beer around at the party, but you never drank it. You know, you just kind of had it because you were trying to be cool.
Yeah, you have a sip.
And I probably had a sip.
Yeah. And
I get in my Jeep, and I'm driving down 41, and the Big Chicken, you've heard of the Big Chicken, right, in Marietta? The Big Chicken, I get pulled, my first ticket, or first time I getting arrested, was at the Big Chicken. I get pulled over, and I'm thinking, what's this guy doing? Yeah. Back then, my parents owned Marietta just about. And so I was like, you know, what's this guy going to do? And I blew in the thing, and I blew a 0.01, and I got arrested. I was like, you got to be careful. So I got minor possession. So it's just been, I've had bad luck and been at the wrong place at the wrong time a lot of times, you know. And but back to what you said a minute ago, it really struck me is, where do I go now? And, you know, the sky's the limit, man. I'm excited again, and that's dangerous. To me, that's great and dangerous. I mean, you got me and Dallas together, and we're both, Dallas is always excited. But to get me excited with him and Steve, it's just like the sky's the limit. I mean, recovery, I've never been able to use recovery or sobriety in a sentence form. And I can use that in a sentence form without being embarrassed and say that, you know, my recovery, you know, is so important. And your sobriety is so important. And it's just to be able to say I'm a recovering addict and know what those things mean. And you say recovering, it's not recovered. You know, it's recovering. And there's a big difference in that, you know. Yeah. And I don't think any addict is really recovered.
You've always inspired people throughout your life.
Right.
You're going to inspire people on a whole new level.
Oh, okay. I'm going to make recovery cool. You know, I really am. I mean, I walked into Anchorage, Alaska airport, and I was there, and of course, 2-hour layover, and there's a bar right across from my gate, of course. And I go right over there because I'm hungry. And of course, seat comes available right at the bar. And I said, why not? I said, absolutely. I go belly up to the bar, and I order a Diet Coke and a water. And the guy goes like, he's wasting the seat, you know? So Coors Light's right here, Coors Light's over here, guy's doing a shot over here. And I actually take a picture of where I'm sitting and a picture of my hamburger with no bun, no carbs, of course, and my Diet Coke and everything. I see me and my niece talk and everything. And, you know, it's amazing how much it's out there. And really, I see now what they really go to try to get you ready for, because it's there.
It doesn't tempt you?
No, man, it just didn't. I mean, the tray came down. You know, they call those triggers. And I it was just amazing how many times I saw I could drink. It's 100 times a day that I could have taken a drink. Yeah. I could have drank 100 times. And so it went like 100 times. I was like, oh my God, this is a trigger. And oh my God. It was just almost comical. I was like, this is unbelievable. I mean, like the drawer was halfway open on the cart, and it was where the vodka was, and I went. And my hand was that far away, and I went, this is unbelievable. And I was laughing, and the stewardess goes, what's so funny? I said nothing. I said nothing because there's no way to explain it. It was just like, this is comical.
But this is that same discipline that you had transferred into something completely different.
That's what Dallas told me. He said, bro, think about the discipline you had to look like you in the 90s. This is the same discipline you're talking about that you're going to have during this. This is the same exact. He said, think about how you looked with your discipline. And now you got to use that same discipline with this, and I am.
Was there a part of you that was upset with how things ended with WCW? Obviously, you guys had zero control over that.
Yeah.
But then you only had one match in WWE.
Yeah, well, I think the question would be, am I upset about the WWE? And at the time, it was the WWF. So, how it broke. Absolutely, I am. To answer your question, That's in the depression part of drinking. I mean, that's in there with the rest of it. I mean, you throw it in a big pile and you set it on fire. That's in there. And it's like, it was so depressing to me. And the only thing that saved me from getting worse or being a lot more depressed was at least the fans knew I got screwed. The fans know and still know that Buff Bagwell got gypped, man. They know that. And without that, I would be like completely depressed. But they know that as my only savior at all. But man, I did get gypped, man. I mean, I was Buff Bagwell, bro. And I got fired in Atlanta, Georgia. And, I think a lot of guys may have the same story, but I can tell you they don't have this one. To my knowledge, I'm the only wrestler. I've been told this by a lot of guys that know the business a lot. I'm the only wrestler in the history of time to be main event one week and fired the next. I mean, where do you sign up for that? I mean, Buff Bagwell was main event with Booker T.
Yeah.
And they fired me in Atlanta, Georgia the next week.
Why wouldn't they have you and Booker T
in Atlanta?
WCW's,
every
main city.
Yeah. Every podcast I did after that was like, guys, think about it. They put us in.
You were in Seattle, Tacoma.
Tacoma, very good.
Yeah.
Tacoma, Washington, and the next week was Atlanta. Now you're Vince McMahon. Are you gonna put us in Tacoma? Or are you gonna wait 7 days and put Booker T and Buff Bagwell in Atlanta, Georgia? And they call it they're calling it the invasion.
Yeah.
What are we invading out there? Alaska? We're invading
Canada.
Yeah, right. We're invading Ted Turner in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
But no. So, and the little things I never told anybody, bro, like this. Right before my music's playing, okay? I can't remember why, but Booker went out first. Think about that. He had 2 belts.
Yeah.
And I went out second.
Yeah.
I've never seen that done before.
And it's funny when you watch the match back on YouTube.
Yeah.
It starts with Booker in the ring and just your entrance.
Right. It don't show his entrance.
No.
He may not have got music. And I don't know that part. I'm going to check on it though. But if you remember, my pyro was off the chart.
Yes.
But here's what I got told that nobody knows 10 seconds before you saw me come through the curtain. Out of nowhere, I mean like a ghost, Shane McMahon appears. And he goes, Mark. I go, yeah. He goes, you can't look into the cameras. My music's playing. And I went, what? He goes, you can't look in the cameras. I go, Shane, that's all I do. I said, I look in the cameras, I pose, and I wear a top hat. I said, that's my whole gig, bro. He said, you can't do it or you're fired. So the next time you watch it back, I want you to see a match. I want you to watch a match of Buff Bagwell anywhere in sight of the year before.
Yeah. And
then watch that match.
Yeah.
I don't look anywhere near that camera for the only time in 3 years. I come down, keep in mind, now that takes me completely out of Buff Bagwell's, out of my world. So I come out, I do the pyro, I do the posing, but then it's like, where's the camera? And I see it and I'm going, and I start talking to somebody over here. So you know, that camera, I'm right up in it, bro. Look at me.
Yeah.
I was out of my game. Right there. So they took my leg off right there, back there, that nobody even knows through the curtain before.
Wow.
So play it back and watch it. It's really weird that I never looked in the camera that night. I was told not to, I'd be fired. Wow. So, but nobody knows that, you know. That's the kind of stuff we were going through, you know.
Yeah.
Jim Ross called me on Wednesday that week before Atlanta and said, hey, man, we got big plans for you in Atlanta. So we want you to take off the house shows. That got to be my mother got me out of them.
Yeah, that's the story.
And it stuck, bro. He started a rumor that stuck. It stuck so much, I started saying, you know what, guys? Let's say that my mom did do it and she's lying to me. Do you fire Buff Bagwell over that? And they were like, no, you don't. And the bad match thing, I go, let's say it was the worst match ever. I go, how about the 5 years of never tripping, stumbling, or anything previous? I said, you don't fire somebody over a bag. You don't fire a Buff Bagwell over one match. Yeah. So the match and the mother stuck, bro. Yeah. It stuck to the point I was like, let's say she did it. You don't fire Buff Bagwell over that. You say, hey, Buff, tell your mother to leave us the hell alone. You don't fire me over that, over what another human does.
It's 20 years later. I feel like that still must just hurt.
Do you realize what that 20 years is? It's about 20 million. I mean, without any exaggeration, it's 10. It's 10 million just joking around. So Jim Ross, in my book, and I hate to say it, played a part in that. I love Jim to death. He's one of my best friends in the WCW. So I don't know what happened with that. I just know I just did what everybody told me. Yeah. And Jim told me not to go to the shows. But out of that came, my mom did it.
If your knee heals up to where you want it to be, do you want to wrestle again?
I'd love to wrestle again. I think I got another run left. I really do.
As Mr. Bagwell?
I know I do, yeah. I mean, I know I've got a little bit of a career left, and I hope I do.
You think you could bump?
But, oh yeah, I know I could. I took a bump and with crutches at Game Changers pay-per-view a year and a half ago. At their pay-per-view, I can't remember what it was called, but I came out first and took a kick from Joey and took a super kick from him and took a good, clean bump. So it's not about the bumping, it's just about running. So if I get my leg underneath me at all, which I think I can, I'm going to have another run at this thing, man.
I mean, to bring it back full circle to where we started.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you in the ring in person.
Right, JT's.
You did a Canadian Destroyer.
Right? Yeah. And I remember the guy was like, holy shit. He said, oh my God, Buff Bagwell is in the Canadian Destroyer. And that was a spot that nobody, 220-pound guys didn't do that kind of spot.
I mean, it's kind of been beat to death.
Yeah.
Like, everybody does the Canadian Destroyer now.
Right. But back
10 years ago, it's like P.D. Williams and a few other people.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember my manager at the time, he came up and said, can you do this? And he showed me it on I've never done it. I've never tried it.
That was the first time you tried it?
Swear to God, in my life.
In the ring?
I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know if you told me, he said, Mark, explain what a Canadian Destroyer is, I'd say, I've got no idea. I have no idea what that is. Swear to God on my life. My manager goes, hey, look at this. Can you do that? I said, well, if they can do it, I can. So me and the guy just kind of hooked him in the dressing room. And I said, now right there, I said, that first push is going to be, it's all your world. I said, on me getting over, but you got to really push right there. And so
you do a front flip.
I hook him, you squat, and when you go, I just tuck. He's got to do the push, and then it's up to me to get us around. And, I mean, we were 99% around when I got it there. So we almost stuck it perfect. But, 220 and first time doing it, I was very pleased with it. Yeah. And then it kicked out. Isn't that great?
Everybody's going to go watch it now. That clip on YouTube after hearing this.
And all the stuff came across the internet was like, the Handsome Destroyer because the Handsome Stranger and so it was the Buff Bagwell Destroyer. And so it got a lot of publicity, by then.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, man. I love doing things. The Blockbuster. I'd never done that in the ring in my entire life, except the first time I did it, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Scotty Riggs. We had practiced it a little bit in the hotel room, like how we were going to land and stuff. But the first time I did it was in the ring. I did it, boom, me and Scotty Riggs. So I found in the wrestling business, man, if you just didn't overthink it, it would come out better.
Did you see that Logan Paul did the Blockbuster?
No, I've seen a lot of guys doing it for high spots, and I love it.
Logan Paul did it at SummerSlam in his match against The Miz.
I love it. For a finish?
No, it was a
high spot, right?
I don't know how he won that match, but yeah, high spot.
the two good tag team guys, the Bowens they come out with the jerseys and AEW guys.
Oh, the Acclaimed?
The Acclaimed.
Yeah.
The Acclaimed, bro. Love them. I did one double blockbuster with Sonny Ono and Ernest the Cat Miller, and one time at a Nitro, and this guy did a double blockbuster when I in Alaska. I thought it was super great, man. I was like, hey, man, I said, good move. And he goes, the blockbuster. I said, that's it, brother. So it was cool. It's cool to see that.
I know a lot of people have been telling you how proud they are of you.
Right.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you,
You've come
man.
such a long way from the last time that I saw you.
Right.
How proud are you of you?
A lot. I really am. This is a big deal, bro. I mean, I've been on some form of drugs for the majority of my life. And now here I am at 52, 40 plus days sober. And I mean, totally sober. Not a sip of alcohol, not one pain pill, not one nothing. That's big. That's huge. I mean, at rehab, they clap when you say that every time.
Yeah.
They clap. And it's like, why they clap? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I remember that one day they would clap. So it's a big deal. One day at a time is what they say. And that's what I'm doing, just like Jake is. It's one day at a time. Even at 8 years, it's still one day at a time. And so I'm very happy about everything for the first time in a long time, though. And I'm excited again for the first time in a long time. And I think all those things is what makes this time different. The tools, excited, and the right team. The right team.
You always would put on a face in front of the crowd that you were happy.
Right.
But maybe you weren't happy, when you went home.
I think when I was in front of them, I was.
Yeah.
But, that was my job. And so, I think you get caught in the middle of that character too a little bit. I definitely lost Marcus a little bit with the Buff. And, I probably didn't know it or didn't think it, but I did, and reality is I do know the difference now, and it's hard to say for addicts because they always say, it's different this time and this is why and everything, but this is different this time. And it's just because it's nothing, no big thing came over me, no special light. I didn't see a light in the far distance or anything. It's just everything's lining up again. I mean, when I did the Buff Bagwell run, everywhere I stepped was gold. Everywhere. Yeah. I couldn't step off. And now, but then it started after that run, it started happening wherever I stepped was bad. And now again, it's everywhere I'm stepping is good again. And so, with that said, I think sometimes we don't have the possibility of what's happening with what's going on with the timing, with it is what it is, and everything. We just don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But this time is so different just because of I'm excited. I think I'm excited, and I got the tools, and I don't know. I just got the right team and everything. And everything's lined up this time, and it's just lined up right. And I just feel so good inside, and I'm sleeping again. That was a big thing. Dallas always says the story you tell yourself, and that's I didn't quite know what he meant. I was listening, but I didn't hear him. And it's big. It's huge to listen to the story you tell yourself. And I was telling myself, I can't sleep. I gotta have Xanax to sleep, guys. I can't do it. And repeatedly hearing that over and over again, you're gonna say you're probably not gonna be able to sleep. All of a sudden now I can say I can sleep, and I can. It's bizarre. Earlier Dallas asked me if I was going to stay over, and I was like, and I actually got nervous. I went, what? And then I thought, wait a minute, I ain't got nothing. Before it'd be like, do I got my pills? Do I have alcohol here so I don't go through the heebie-jeebies in the morning and the shakes and feel bad in the morning? I mean, I don't. You got to plan all that. Because you're an addict. But I went, oh my God, I can sleep on the couch in these clothes and wake up and drive home tomorrow. Yeah. And do you know what kind of feeling that is coming from a drug addict? It's huge, man. And so I said, I can do that. So he got his sleep apnea machine out for me. and said, look, check these. I said, I can put something together with that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to stay over. But anyway, it's just great to be able to do that. And it's just, there's nothing to hold me back anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what that does. It handcuffs you, bro.
Yeah.
And it grabs you, and it can grab anybody, man. And it grabbed me.
Yeah.
But I broke that grip, and now I'm free from it. So, man, I'm free from it.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I appreciate it, man.
And I'm really sorry to hear about the passing of your mom.
Yeah, man, that was a biggie, bro. That was huge. Yeah, and
I'm sure she'd be so proud of you now.
yeah, she was always so worried about me, man. I mean, my dad and her, you know, of course, I took care of them during my run, and I was like, you know, they were constantly trying to get me, you know, to quit, you know, and they knew that, you know, that was part of it that I needed for some injuries and stuff, but they knew it had gotten out of hand, and you know, and how can they come talk to me? They work for me, you know. So my dad was like, what do I say to him? He goes to the gym every day. He looks phenomenal. His cars are oil changed and clean. His house is spotless, and we work for him. So they came at me with how much I was spending, and I never looked at it, Chris, never, because I knew I wasn't ready to stop, and I didn't want to be depressed about the amount of money I was spending. So I just shoved it away. I said, now that I want to see it. But she would be so proud. And I wish she was here to see it, because it would be like beyond her, it'd be like out of her mind, belief. Yeah, so I wish she would be here to see it. But talking about her for a minute, the second appearance I've made through all of this, Alaska was the first, and the second was in Canton, Georgia this past week, and I didn't realize it until I was on the way. You don't even know this, but as I was on the way, I kept asking my agent / manager, I was like, hey man, I said, where's this place at again? He said, it's called Action. And I went, I said, wait a minute, I said, is it a church? And he goes, yeah, I think it is. I said, oh my God. I said, that's where my mother's funeral was.
No way.
The second signing I've been at is where my mom's funeral was less than a year ago.
Wow.
So I signed autographs in a building where my mom's funeral was. And I didn't know how to take it. It was kind of settling to me. It was like comfort a little bit. It wasn't like, oh my, now Jonna, my niece, was flipped and like, oh my God, how's Mark gonna take this? But I made it make sense. Yeah. And for some reason it did. It was almost like my mom was there and it was okay. Yeah. And I didn't even tell Steve Yu about this, I don't think, till the next day. It wasn't that big a deal. But to me and Jonna, it was huge. My mother just had her funeral there less than a year ago. Wow. So she's there still, and I know she's looking over me, man. But I do wish she could have been here to talk to her about me being sober. It would have been cool. Yeah. But I miss her, man. She was special. She was a great woman, great mother, great mother.
I'm just really proud of the progress you've made.
Thanks,
congratulations. 40-something days in. Next time I see you, it'll be, who knows?
A year, brother. Yeah. It's going to be a year.
I end every conversation talking about gratitude, because that's such an important thing to me. I wake up every day, I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for.
Oh, that's great, man.
And I do it before I go to bed as well.
Wow, I love that.
So Marcus, what are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
My sobriety, Steve Yu and Dallas Page, and God. I mean, that's 3 big ones, man. That's the 3 that came to my mind first, so I said them.
That's great.
If I had a bigger list, it'd be my niece and.
Sure, we can be grateful for as many things as you want.
But the top 3 that came to my head was that, and that's 3 big ones, man. Steve Yu is so special, man. I can't explain it. Dallas will say the same thing, and he's a friend that is so unconditional. It's unbelievable, and I love him so much. And to have Dallas with him, the 2 together are exactly what Dallas always wears on his shirt. They're unstoppable, and they are. And just for them to love me and care about me the way they do, when everybody else, man, turned their back on me. And I don't blame them for turning their back on me, the other people. But they didn't. And, all the doubters out there that didn't believe in me and stuff, I kind of dig that. I don't mind that. It don't make me mad. It's just I'll see you at the finish line, and let's see how it goes.
And you say that as we're sitting in Dallas's house.
Right.
And the man on the other side of the camera
is Yoda.
It's Steve Yu.
That's the other reason why he said that.
Yeah, right.
No, it didn't.
Brother.
I even got teared up.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Hey, man, I love you, bro.
Love you.
I love you so
We all
much.
love you.
Absolutely.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.